Hey and welcome to my channel. In today's video I want to update you on 3.5 years living in Sweden. It feels quite long but also short at the same time. What do you think? Are 3.5 years long or short? Let me know in the comments down below. I really love it. I appreciate it a lot when people see how much effort it takes to keep this YouTube channel alive and make these videos, so thank you so much for supporting me. So let's dive into what it is like to live in Sweden for 3.5 years. But before I go into all the details, make sure to subscribe to my newsletter and also grab your little ebook about 10 questions if Sweden is the right fit for you. There's a link in the description down below. Let's get started. Let's start with work. Normally I update you on my partner's work because I have my own business and I'm working away, but I haven't really explored the Swedish work culture. But that has changed now since last year, end of August in 2024. I started a freelance job in a Swedish marketing agency. So that gives me a little bit of an insight into the Swedish workplaces, I guess. I do have Zoom calls with my team, but also I try to now go into the office at least once a week to just connect with my colleagues. Pretty much all of my colleagues are Swedish. There is one guy, he's from Scotland, but he can speak perfectly Swedish. I'm so jealous. But he has been living here more than 10 years, I think. So there are goals that in 10 years I will be fluent in Swedish as well. So yeah, I'm just exploring what it is like to work in a Swedish company. And so far I really like it. But I will definitely update you at some point what it is like to work in a Swedish company. So stay tuned. And then life in general, well, we have established our routines here. The kids are going to kindergarten, they're going to school, we are going to work. My partner still works in the same company. Yes, that's very great. So far it's going well. So fingers crossed it will stay that way. So he goes into his office. I mainly work from home and sometimes go into town to meet people or to work from my office now. So we have a really established routine here. We're trying to do things at the weekend, although right now it's like deep winter. It's January as well, so everything is a bit slower in terms of adventurous things to do. We do spend quite a bit of time inside, although the kids are outside every single day, because the cool thing here, I would say that's the cool thing in Sweden, like when you go to kindergarten or to school, they always have time outside no matter the weather. So you just have to dress appropriately. And as far as I know, they also enjoy it. If it's not too long, they enjoy their time outside. Also because it has snowed outside, so they can do different activities outside like sledding and things like that, or building a snowman. So that's fun for the kids, right? But if you have any specific questions for me about life in Sweden in general, let me know in the comments down below and I'm happy to answer any questions. But of course, I also wanted to talk a little bit more about the weather. It's fun to talk about the weather here in Sweden because it's a significant part of your life, especially when it's the winter. The question is, are we still happy when it's winter? How is our mood? Are we depressed? Do we feel like, life in Sweden is not as great as we thought it would be, because of the winter, the darkness, etc. And I think there is another 2 to 3 months of this kind of weather, in the winter. And it's not the nice pre-Christmas time anymore. That's one of my most favorite times here in Sweden, when there are the Christmas lights, the Christmas markets. You can really celebrate a little bit Christmas in December, maybe a little bit in November already as well. But then come January, everything's kind of over. And it takes quite a long time until the next cool thing is coming again, like for example Easter or spring. But yeah, I would say we are still very fine with the weather. It doesn't affect us, kind of mentally. It doesn't make us super depressed. It's obviously a little bit tough. It's more a difficult situation. I really hate changing the kids or like layering the kids up when we go outside. It takes ages. To de-ice the car, it takes quite a bit of time. But you know, life cannot be without challenges, and there are really small challenges, and it doesn't make us unhappy here in Sweden like so many others. I feel sometimes when you ask people, like they're really focused on the weather, and especially when there's winter, it's just like, what's the first thing they tell you? So it is definitely something, a bit of a tougher time, but nothing where we say we want to move away from Sweden. We can cope with it so far. How are you feeling about the weather right now in Sweden if you live in Sweden? And then I want to talk about the people. So I like to talk about, you know, how it is to connect with people here, how my social life here in Sweden is, my social life personally, but also as a family. And I like to reflect on, you know, how it has been in the last 3.5 years. Has it been tough? Has it been good? And then I basically share this with you. Well, I did meet new people, especially Swedish people, through my work. So I have Swedish colleagues, and I'm getting to know them slowly, and I really like talking to them, especially the girl I was basically replacing because she went on maternity leave, so she will come back, but I got really along with her and I really enjoyed her company. So yeah, I'm connecting. But funny enough, she also used to live in another country. So I feel like, you know, you just connect like easier when you have common things. Like, and I moved abroad, you know, and if I ever meet someone who also lived abroad, like there's immediate kind of connection because you know what it means. But yeah, I'm enjoying getting to know my colleagues, every now and then hanging out with the neighbors, not that often, especially now in winter. But then also we kind of like connected very well with one of my kids' friends' parents. And we celebrated Halloween together, and I really like them, and my partner really likes them as well. So we're making some connections there, and they're a Swedish couple, a Swedish family. So I would say it's going great. And then obviously I have all my friends from the 3.5 years, my old Swedish friends I met back in London, but also my international friends here in Sweden. Like personally, I'm really happy. I mean, I don't need a million friends really, because I'm really busy and like working and also looking after the kids and just having family life in general. So for me, it has been actually really good here in Sweden. I cannot complain. So yeah, I will keep you updated if I ever come across like a bad experience, or if I think like I personally struggle with making connections. But I'm also a very open person, a very flexible person. I don't get easily offended if someone cancels on me. Maybe that adds up to why I have a happy social life here in Sweden. And last but not least, the Swedish language. Guys, I feel embarrassed. Honestly, I'm learning, but it's really hard for me to say things. It takes me a long time to say things. I continue to learn online, and now my friend and I, we want to start every time we meet to just like talk first in Swedish. Honestly, it's so hard. It's actually not so bad to read things or sometimes even write things. To understand Swedish is also not as hard, but the speaking part, oh my gosh, is so crazy. And I know I should put more effort, but you also have to understand that it is also difficult to really concentrate on it, because I have so many things in my life I need to take care of, you know, for example, like making money and then looking after the family and things like that, that I do not prioritize learning Swedish, or speaking Swedish. I do learn Swedish, but speaking Swedish, you know, you could obviously have these språk cafes or something like that where you could attend, but that would mean a lot of effort for me, you know, to go into town and find these cafes where they do that, and go into town and stuff. And I don't know, it sounds like an excuse, and some people will attack me, and that's fine, you know, that's your opinion. But I know that eventually I will get to that point where I will speak Swedish, but in half a year, because that's the last time I did an update, half a year ago, when, you know, my 3-year life in Sweden, now it's 3.5 years. I have continued to learn, but I didn't make a huge jump, and now all of a sudden I can speak. But yeah, I want to stay honest, you know, and also talk a little bit about the struggle of learning Swedish. And I know people say like, oh, but you're German, it should be so much easier for you. And I do get it. And I since have met other Germans, and of course they can speak Swedish, but all of them also have a bit of an advantage where most of them have a Swedish partner, you know, where they can practice a lot. And I do not have that. I do have Swedish friends, but I don't see them that often. And when we see each other, I also do not prioritize to speak Swedish to them. I try to speak Swedish to kids. I mentioned that before, and I continue doing that, because I feel the best talking to kids in Swedish. Maybe they're not so judgmental. Maybe they wonder sometimes, why is she talking so weirdly, or why can she not say certain things? But yeah, that's the update about learning Swedish and speaking Swedish. It's going, but I don't want to say it's not going great, but it definitely evolves. Like, let's see where we are in half a year, if I finally can say a little bit more. I know in my last update I did say a little bit more, but I also want to say that took me a lot of energy and time to kind of like, you know, really say out loud. But now I'm just talking, obviously in English, and it's so much easier. And in Swedish, I'm not there. But bear with me, I will get there one day, and I will be very, very happy to make a Swedish video at some point in Swedish language. Well, thank you so much for watching till the end, and I will see you in my next video. Hej då!